Do you relate well to being spiritual and not religious? Are you looking to transform your life to have greater purpose and experience more joy and abundance? If you are, you've come to the right place. Welcome. I'm Neil Pinkman, the Spiritual Director for the Center for Spiritual Living, North Jersey. Over the past 2 decades, our open and affirming, diverse community has helped countless people in the same way. Enjoy watching. If you like what you see, check us out at cslnj.org.
You know the words, so when you get comfortable, jump in. Here we go. I'm thankful, so grateful. I am one in the spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I'm thankful. I'm thankful, so grateful. I am one in the spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. One more time, I'm thankful. I'm thankful, so grateful. I am one in the spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I surrender. I surrender. I surrender. I'm one. I am one in the spirit all around me. I surrender. I surrender. I surrender. I trust in God. One more time. I surrender. I surrender. I surrender. I am one in the spirit all around me. I surrender. I surrender. I surrender. I trust in God. I'm thankful. I'm thankful. So grateful. So grateful. I am one. I am one in the spirit all around me. I'm thankful. I'm thankful. So grateful. Grateful. I trust in God. One more time. I'm thankful. I'm thankful. So grateful. I am one in the spirit all around me. I'm thankful. So grateful. I trust in God. I think we got to surrender one more time. I surrender. I surrender. I surrender. I am one in the spirit all around me. I surrender. I surrender. I trust in God. I'm thankful. Here we go. I'm thankful. So grateful. I am one in the spirit all around me. I'm thankful. So grateful. I trust in God. I trust in God. I trust in God. Here we go, big finish. I trust in God. Good morning. Oops, forgot we're going to be sharing today.
So wonderful to share. All right, good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Andy Palmer. I am on the Leadership Council here at CSL NJ, and I want to welcome you to our Sunday celebration this morning. Whether you're here in person, we have a nice crowd. Here online, welcome. If you would join me in our welcoming as we read along here, identifying not just who we are as individuals, but who we are as a community. That here at CSL NJ, we are an open and affirming science of mind community where the vibration of love lifts you, the wisdom of the ages inspires you, and the science of mind teaching empowers you. We believe that heaven and hell are states of consciousness that you experience in this lifetime, and that you are the architect of your life, and that it is never too late to know true happiness. It does deserve a little clap time. It really does. I'm coming up on just over a year on the Leadership Council, and it really has been a shift of that mindset. It's a journey that we're all on. It is one that I feel poignantly. I look forward to hearing Alfred's Power Talk today from his perspective as well. Before we hop back into our service, I'd like to thank Nettie for our Psalm Sunday this morning, Neil for our meditation before the service, and Brian as our practitioner of the day. Thank you for your presence. Also, something that I'd like to speak this week of that has weighed on me. And as I was preparing to host, I thought, well, why don't we mention this last week? And it's because there weren't wildfires in LA 7 days ago. In a very short period of time. We've had just devastating fires in LA across the entire community there. I was just on the phone on Thursday with Patrick Harbula, who visited our community in October. He was doing his follow-up calls from that visit. And immediately I said, pause, asking about me and my spiritual center. How is LA's spiritual center? How are the Harbulas in their community? By and large, many are safe, but everybody's affected. I'll step aside for Neil as he kind of, as our spiritual director here at CSL NJ, coordinates our response to support LA.
Good morning. Yeah, Patrick is not that far. I've been to his house, and he's not that far from where those fires are, as are many of our centers. I was on, actually, as they were burning, my daughter, who's 25 miles away down the coast, was showing me FaceTime, and you could actually see the huge flames from 25 miles away on FaceTime. If you've seen the pictures, it's absolutely beyond comprehension, right? I know that my son-in-law's family, very close friend, I've been at their house too for 4th of July parade, and watched up there in Pacific Palisades. Their house is gone. The whole neighborhood is gone. This isn't the first time. Our family here, Sandy, who does our newsletters, lost her home a few years ago in a fire and has been working her way back. We got their help when we had Sandy. Right? It's part of what we do in order to help. You'll hear later, we've made some contributions like to the floods in Asheville. It's time for us to step up now. This is something that we can do and where we can help. Andy and I will be orchestrating at some point. There are 2 baskets in the back with these flyers. These flyers have a prayer that CSL put out. There's a QR code on here for giving directly. I'll be pasting that in the chat as well for people online to give. Any money you want to give, we will pass the baskets later at some point. If you want to give, we'll pass those baskets. On the back of this, there's a prayer. Please read the prayer, put it out. If you are connected to CSL Home Office, you might have received this in an email. It's really, really important. We're a wonderful community, but we're only here because of the greater community and helping each other, taking care of each other. It's what we do. So, thank you.
Thank you, Neil. I mentioned that shift that I've had, that we are part of the one that is in individuals and everything and everywhere. And whether we look out into the universe or here on Earth in different communities, feel that connection across the globe as we turn our attention to that specific area of LA. I think that's all I can say for now, but let's get some music and I'll see you guys later.
It's all about oneness. have a cousin in Pasadena that's going through it right now. So as we set ourselves in this morning and remember our oneness, and we remind each person to allow yourself to feel these words. As you feel these words, please let them come from your heart and join in as we become that big one voice that carries that vibration all through the world and through the country. Find your voice. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am. I am. Once more. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am. I am. Yes. I am. I am. I am. That is the ultimate prayer. That is the ultimate consciousness. I. Synonymous with the Roman numeral of one. Let that sink in. I, one. Each individual I is one with the one. Let us breathe into that consciousness. Let us hold that consciousness. For all of us here, as Andy and Neil mentioned, let us hold that consciousness for our friends, beloveds out in California. Knowing the highest vibration of love and light, knowing that they are fully supported, knowing that whatever their experience may be, that they may find peace, comfort, solace, support, love. May they maintain that consciousness of their oneness through this time. May the rest of us find what we may be able to do in that support, in that consciousness. May we remember that consciousness of oneness throughout this day, throughout every day.
In gratitude for this and so much more, I surrender this word into love, into light, into law. And so it is.
So it is.
Once again, we invite you to find your voice. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am. Let it vibrate throughout the world. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am. I am. As you say that I, let it feel that vibration in your body. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am. Let's have one more. Let's affirm this. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am. I am.
Thank you, Ty and Clive. As we find that center within ourselves, I invite you to join me in our January affirmation. Each month, Neil puts time into creating this joining statement for us. I invite you to read along with me. Aware of the depth of the spiritual teaching and the very powerful application of it in my life, I live in the most present way possible, knowing that the principles of science of mind support me in every moment in creating the life I want to live now. I know that the power of these principles are the core of who I am, and I use them consciously in living a life of happiness and joy. And so it is. Wonderful. Well, let's share that joy as we participate in our community greeting. Again, I'll give you 2 minutes to get up and say hello to your neighbors. Those of you online, welcome.
Anybody else hearing a gong? Is it just in my head?
Andy stole my thunder. I was going to do it.
Feel free, do it again. Just get it out, you know?
Yeah,
So you gotta use the wood.
that was so good, B. Come on, get it. There we go.
So it is time once again for our reading of the day. Surprisingly enough, it happens to be from our Science of Mind textbook. Page 39, and it's called Good Only, Not Good and Evil. Let's let that concept weigh on us for a moment before we read. The gardener goes forth in faith to sow his seeds. He has learned that as he sows, so shall he reap. That the law works for all alike. We must accustom ourselves to the concept of the impersonalness of the law, the availability of the law, and the mechanical accuracy of the law. If we can conceive only a little good, that is as much as we can experience. We must instill into the mind the fundamental proposition that good is without bounds. Only good and loving kindness shall follow me all the days of my life. And that is a quote from Psalms 23. We must get this concept rather than continuing to think that there is a power of evil as opposed to the power of good. We experience good and evil because we perceive a presence of duality rather than unity. Then, knowing that the thing can work for us only through us, let us begin to accept today more good than we experienced yesterday, and to know that we shall reap a harvest of fulfilled desires. The time must come when we shall have left the apparent evil behind, when it shall be rolled up like a scroll and numbered with the things which were once thought to be. Let us realize and work with this sound knowledge and perfect faith, that as high as we shall make our mark in mind and spirit, so high shall be its outward manifestation in our material world. And so it is.
Peace. I am not Richard Nixon. And I mean, we need peace all the time, but as we know, we've been working hard on this for a little while. So, knowing it all comes from within us and starts here, please repeat after me. I am the peace I wish to see.
I am the peace I wish to see.
I know this peace for my family.
I know this peace for my family.
My family knows this peace for my community.
My family knows this peace for my community.
And our community knows this peace for the world.
And our community knows this peace for the world.
Let that sink in. We're about to have a power talk. And one of the things that I would like to do is have more power talks in our celebrations. Because the power talks I like to ask people to do are talks where they're testimonials, basically, on how this teaching works. And I know you hear me talk about it all the time, but it works for everyone. And I think that was in the reading before, right? Wasn't it? That, that it's not a respecter of persons, the law, that it just works. So, what I'm asking for is, it's only 5 minutes. Now, some of you go, oh, 5 minutes, I can't talk for 5 minutes in front of a microphone. Oh my God, and it scares you. Good, do it anyway. That's why we're here, to overcome all those things that we go, I don't know if I can do that. Believe me, you'll start talking and I'll be over there going, that's way over 5 minutes. But we want to hear, whether it's here in the sanctuary, whether it's online, whether you want to send me something written, we'll put it in the newsletters. But how this teaching is working for you is what this is all about. And we want to know about it, and we want to celebrate it, and we want to share it, because you know what? Your story inspires other people. And if there's anything that this center is about, if there's anything this teaching is about, it's service. And what a beautiful way to be in service in a small but very, very impactful way. So please, think about it. If you've got a story to tell, if you don't think you can tell it in 5 minutes, call me. I'll work with you. I'll show you how to do it in 5 minutes. But right today, we have Alfred, who's going to share with us his story that was so impactful in this teaching that it led him to write a book about it. So please, welcome Alfred.
You ever have a dream?
No, microphone.
Oh yeah, okay. My voice is kind of
But we got to reach.
recording. Yeah. So All right, so I'm gonna start again.
Now you can
My
walk
5
with the
minutes.
microphone if you want.
I will. So I'm gonna start all over again. My 5 minutes starts new, right?
The clock is on.
First of all, thank you. I want to say thank you first and foremost. And then I'm gonna go into, have you ever had a dream? If you've had a dream, raise your hand. Okay, not that dream, but like a dream that burns inside of you. You ever had that dream? Raise your hand. This is that moment for me. I've asked for this for many, many years, and to be able to do it, I'm so grateful. That is this teaching. I'm so humble. That is this teaching. I realize that there is one in everyone, and everyone is in that one. And my talk, if I could find a way to express science of mind, if there was a way to express what it was to come into this center 13 years ago and walk into hugs from people who didn't look like me, and walk into a bookstore that was so well established and stocked with new information, just walking in the environment created, even if you didn't read it, just walking in the bookstore made you want to read. And had Dave there, and had Reverend Joel and all these people here, just being in the environment. If there was a way for me to be able to communicate the love, if there was a way to express and show to people that there's classes here that you would not regularly think about taking, like the book, The One Thing, or the Radical Forgiveness. You know what I mean? That there's information here that by taking a class and learning and engaging with new communities and new people, you learn new things. If there was a way to put it all in one place so that a new group of people can understand it, a new group of people who could get a vocal illustration that they could read and understand that you were not alone, and that there is something more powerful out there that can help you. And it doesn't look the way that you're used to things looking. If there was a way to put information together in a palatable, understandable way, so that I could say, thank you, CSL North Jersey. Thank you, Reverend Michelle. Thank you, Neil. Thank you. You're amazing. Thank you. If there was a way that information could be shared, that love is okay, and it's okay to say that I love you. If there was a way to show that unconditionality is okay, you can be unconditional. You can care for someone unconditionally. If there was a way to show that I hurt, and I have a community to say, I hurt, can you help me? If there was a way of affirmative treatment so that we could begin with the end in mind, as opposed to suffering in the thought of what's wrong, and we only think about what it could be and what it will be again. If there was a way to communicate that, that would be a marvelous thing. What have I taken away? The challenge in 5 minutes to say, what have I taken away? I've learned in this teaching, Science of Mind, that church is a building, but a community. This community has traveled from multiple churches, and it still survives. People still want to come to this community because of what they get. And by getting, you give. No one looks the same in this room. A community of people not looking the same, not dressing the same, not thinking the same. But what do they have in common? This teaching. Science of Mind. That's what this is about. What have I got from this? That people who don't look like me, don't feel like me, can still love me and teach me what it is to resonate in loving myself. And it's okay for me to love myself. Where we can get into conversations about quantum physics at the same way that we can get into the hurt and send love to people out in LA. And get together and pray and love and treat and pray for healing and help for those people who don't have. So in this 5 minutes, I'm grateful just to be able to say thank you to CSL. And I pray that many others have this opportunity too. This community has done so much and has changed so many lives. It's affected me, it's affected my children, it's affected my relationships, and by the grace of God, this would not exist. I would not be able to speak about this without this community. And I start the book off with that. So,
What is the book?
Tell them the time.
Can I?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll just subtract the time from the next time you talk.
I appreciate this. You guys don't know how much I manifested this moment. Yeah, Mike, I don't need one. Okay, Notes of an Unfinished Journey. I'm not done yet. A Black Man's Divorce Memoir. It's a positive conversation about the pain that men go through that you never hear about. But the most important thing, it is science of mind embodied. It is science of mind embodied from an experience that you don't hear about. You don't hear a man's experience. You don't hear a black man's experience. And we teach as above, so below. You know what I mean? So color doesn't matter. However, what we see does. So it's not about the book. This conversation is about what this community has done for me. This power talk is not about me, it's about you. And in 5 minutes, if I can do it, then you can also. And as I said, and as I'll close, I'm grateful. Gratitude creates a whole new energy in you. Happiness creates a whole new energy from you. You think different, you move different, you care different. You can look someone in the eye. You can't look someone in the eye if you're angry. You can't look someone in the eye if you have guilt. But you can take a class here and you can learn about you. And in taking classes here at CSL, this is what changed me. Taking these classes is what brings on change, because that change happens in you. This speaks about changing in you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alfred.
Where can we get the book? You wouldn't be selling those today, would you?
I do have copies available.
I thought so.
Okay, so in case you didn't hear that online, he has copies available today. And what a perfect segue, because it's all about change. We're completely different from when we walked in this room this morning, so let's talk about change. What if the world was a better place because of you? What if you had more love and compassion in all you do? The world would be a better place. We'd all live with ease and grace. Just believe with the dream it can really come true. Here's what you do. Join hearts. Let love's healing start. Join hands. Let love heal the land. While you're sitting, I got it. You got it. The power to change the world. I got it. You got it. The power to change. Oh. Here's question number 2. What if your smile was the currency to purchase the dream? What if your heart held every soul as its love supreme? Love supreme. We wouldn't study war no more, holding love always at the core. Lifting the world, all people to the highest esteem. Ooh, it's more than a dream. Join hearts, let love's had a chance to think about it. You ready? Loud and proud. Here we go. I got it. Here we go. 1, 2. One more time. Here we go. I got it. Power to change. We got it, baby. It's all one. It's about love. Yes.
A man that needs no introduction. A man that needs no introduction.
Who's going to get one?
You're gonna get one, Joel. Because it is January. It is January, and every January we revisit our textbook, the first 4 chapters. And I just want to read this from our little handout today because I think it is important to give us some guidance. That Ernest Holmes describes the science of my teaching and philosophy as practical spirituality, our theme for January. He structured the first 4 sections of the Science of Mind textbook purposely in order to get that point across. The thing itself, how it works, what it does, and how to use it. The sequence of those is not accidental as he builds to how to put this teaching to use in a very practical way. This month we recommit to understanding the very practical use of our teaching in our everyday lives. So this week is how it works. And as a science teacher myself, structuring a textbook and presenting information in a way that is understandable is not an easy task. So I will put this in the very capable hands of Joel Fotinos. Here we go.
All right. Thank you. Hello. Hello. And thank you to the musicians today. You're always awesome. And also thank you to everyone who puts this together, because it takes a lot of people to put this together, to be here and also online. So for every person who has put this thing together today, including Edna with hospitality and the IT team and everybody, and Neil of course works hard to get it, and we're learning new technology, etc. So thank you to everybody. And also thank you to Alfred Robinson, who gave his power talk, which was awesome. Right? It was so good. And again, he brought copies of his book, Notes of an Unfinished Journey, a Black Man's Divorce Memoir. I'm Not Done Yet. It's also on Amazon, right? Yes. Yeah, so for those of you who are not here, go on Amazon. Alfred J. Robinson. There you go. So shout out. Yeah. And what else do I have in my housekeeping stuff? First, I started a Substack. I joined Reverend Elaine and Evelyn and Reverend Michelle. So look me up on Substack. I'll be doing stuff there. And Substack is a community website. It's like Facebook, but it's not part of Meta. Ooh. If you know, you know. Huh? Yeah, and you can do teaching, and there's anyway. Look it up. Substack in my name. Speaking of books. We don't really herald this enough. We should, but Reverend Michelle's book, Shadow Work, just less than 2 weeks ago, I think, got into Target and is on sale at Target right now. You can't take these teachings more mainstream than Target, right? Maybe Walmart. Maybe, but that'll be next. But I mean, tell everybody you know, go to Target to get a copy of the book around the country, because that supports Michelle, but it also supports this teaching. Yes. So that's really cool. Yes. And finally, the last thing I will say, housekeeping-wise, is, it's on my phone. I think it's the 17th. I'm doing a online event with Julia Cameron through East West Books in Seattle. So if you go to eastwestbooks.org, Seattle.org, I think. You can sign up for it, and you sign up to be part of it. She's put together this fun workshop that I'm co-hosting and kind of master of ceremonies for, and you get a copy of the book mailed to you. So, and the book is really great. It's called the Artist's Way Toolkit. So, there's that. I think I can't remember their website name, but the name of the bookstore is East West Books in Seattle. So if you just Google East West Books Seattle, and then you go to their page, they have an events tab, and then you'll see the Julia Cameron one. So I think it's $27, something like that. All right, I'm done with that. What does a house wear to a New Year's Eve party? A dress. Address. How does NASA organize a New Year's event? How does NASA organize a New Year's event? They plan it. Where does Sir Lancelot go on the 31st of December evening? A night club. Ba-dum, boom. Finally, why did the spoon come to the New Year party dressed as a knife? The invitation said to look sharp. All right. So let's talk about what we're here to talk about, which is finally some better jokes, right? Yeah.
Joel, you're back. The Groans have
It's a whole new year. Woo. Okay, so I mentioned in my last talk that the second Friday of the year is what they call Quitter's Day. We're past it. So all the pressure is off. Now we can just kind of do our thing. And we can live these principles and we can live our greatest life without the pressure of we have to do it. Now we get to do it. We can really enjoy doing it. And we can get things done. We can take care of ourselves. And for all those gifts that you may have gotten over the holiday season that, are sitting there and you think, oh, I don't know what to do with it, I'm now giving you emotional permission to get rid of them. You can re-gift them to someone else, but if you do, make sure you don't re-gift it to the person who got it for you. So I usually put a little sticky note on it saying, so-and-so got me this, and that way I don't accidentally give it back. Or you can give it to the vets or, something like that. Or you can just open that drawer and recycle it and do it that way. So get rid of it. We're going to simplify things in 2025. And another thing besides simplifying things that I want to do this year is I would like to have less fear in 2025. Anybody join me with that? That came to my mind because one of my favorite songs is by Stevie Nicks, the great Stevie Nicks. It's one of her Fleetwood Mac songs. Little known song of hers called Storms on the Tusk album, one of my favorite albums. And there's a line in that song that says, every hour of fear I've spent, my body tries to cry. And I thought, wow, that's so right. That's what fear does to us. We internalize it, we hold it, and our body doesn't know what to do with it. Our body tries to cry. So less fear, fearless living in 2025. Yes?
Yes.
Good. Okay, so last weekend, I was actually at a conference, and it was a conference of people who were channeling. I was there for work, and it was people who channeled other beings, other entities from other places. And it was interesting, they all had different things to say. And I was enjoying it, and one guy, the main guy that people were there for, was talking about how simple life is. And somebody at the Q&A stood up and said, that sounds too simple. That sounds way too simple. And the channeled entity, who is very cheeky, said, what, do you want me to try to make your life harder? Is that it? And I thought, no, we don't want that this year. We don't want that. So there were all these channeled entities beyond that people were just so invested in. And then I went back to the hotel, and on the lobby television, there was a preacher. It was Sunday morning. There was a preacher, and he had his version of what to do and saying how he thought life should go. And all of these different people have all these different ideas of how life works and what we're supposed to do and who we're supposed to worship and this and that. And it occurred to me that we are all looking for meaning and we're all looking for instructions in life. Right. All of us. We all are at some level or another. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I don't think I've ever shared this before. It's not that big of a deal. But when I was younger, in my 20s, my dream, I loved reading about different religions. I loved it. I loved reading. I grew up in the evangelical, Lutherans and then evangelical, but I also loved learning about every other religion. And I spent a lot of time really researching them and I went to the Hare Krishna temple a lot, which was fun. My mother thought I was nuts. And, just every religion I could. And I wanted to start what I called in my mind the Spiritual Growth Center, SGC. I wanted to so much, I actually had that tattooed on my arm, SGC. But I don't tell that to people when they say, what does that mean? I always tell them it means something else, because it's too long of an explanation. But in my mind, I thought, wouldn't it be great to have a place? And I lived in Denver, and I found a place. It had been a university, and they had it up for sale. Beautiful, huge space with a park in it, and lots of parking, and this building that just had all these different arms to it. And I thought, that's my vision. A place where all the different thought systems of the world can come together in one place, and we can all learn from each other, and we can all grow, and we can have classes and foods from each of the different religious traditions, etc. Spiritual Growth Center. I just love that idea. So I started getting people together, and we did these events. And I would bring in people, leaders, teachers from different religions. And my beautiful vision of us all getting along, holding hands, was not real, because they argued with each other. No, my Bible is right. No, my sacred book is right. No, my God is right. No, this is right. You can't do that. Sin is real. Original sin. Blah blah blah. And after a while, I gave up on those because people were so divided by their thoughts, and I thought, I wanted to find a way to bring them all together in harmony. I'd like to teach the world to sing I'd like to give the world a Coke. That's right. How many of you remember that? That's what I wanted. So that's why I gave different words to mean SGC on my arm, because that was that. So I was very human, people were very human, and I realized to myself, okay, this is probably not the way it's going to work, but I really ached for something that I thought could bring everything together. So then, some of you have heard this part of the story, I got dumped royally, horribly, and I was very upset after getting dumped. You've all been dumped once and twice in your life, right? Maybe. I'm alone in this? Okay. So I alone was dumped. Anyway, I was dumped, and I was very upset, and I was driving because I just thought, get in the car and drive, and I was crying and everything, and the window was open, and music, I had music playing really loud, very sad music. And then I got lost, and Denver is a very big city, in terms of mileage, and I got lost. So I turned into a parking lot to find out where the heck I was. This is before cell phones, of course. This was in the mid-'80s. And I turned in a parking lot in this weird-shaped building, and I looked at the sign, and it said, Mile High Church of Religious Science. Had not heard of this. Wow. And it said Sunday mornings at such and such. They were so big, they had 3 services on Sunday mornings. And then Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. And I looked, and it was Wednesday evening, and it was like 6:59. And here I'd just been dumped. What did I have to lose, right? I had lost everything, I thought. And I thought, oh, well, I guess I'll go in there and see what they have. So I did. I parked, and I went in. And when I went in the lobby, and to get into the sanctuary part, they had these big red heavy curtains. Remember, like at movie theaters used to have those? That's what they had. And I thought, what's behind those curtains? Immediately I was very suspicious, and I opened the curtain, and I saw there was a big auditorium, And I sat in the back row at the one right next to the curtain because I thought if there's animal sacrifices, I am out of here. I'm gone. I am not going to join a cult. I know I'm way at my lowest part, but I'm still not going to join a cult. But of course, it was wonderful. And the reverend that was speaking that night, a woman, Reverend Marjorie Stamm, Dr. Marjorie Stamm, said two things that changed my life that night. The first was the way they began the service was by blessing people of all religions, all faiths, and those who didn't belong to a religion or have faith. Everybody was included. That was my vision. I had it tattooed. That was my vision. And the other thing she said was, everybody is 100% responsible for their own life. Right. Half the crowd was like, yes, and the other half of the crowd was like, oh. And I was a bit of both because, you know, it's like my life was in shambles and I'm responsible for this? What are you talking about? Don't you know? And it's easy to point out why everybody else is responsible for my bad. But this church taught me how to be totally responsible for my good. That was a big deal. And it was through Science of Mind and the Science of Mind teachings that I learned to develop the lens to be able to see truth in all of those religions, in all things, in fact. And it was really powerful. I went to the bookstore and I got this book, and it's thick and very intimidating. Even though the type is pretty big, there's lots of words that are capitalized all the way through, and I thought, wow, this is really intense. But as you can see, I spent years studying this book line by line, word by word, concept by concept, and I really came to understand it very fully. And I learned that some of the basics that I learned from the Science of Mind, one is that Ernest Holmes, who founded the philosophy that we know as Centers for Spiritual Living, Science of Mind, Religious Science, Ernest Holmes did not claim to be a prophet. He did not claim to hear the words of God. He did not claim to have truths that only people who belonged and tithed to this one church could benefit from. All he did was he was a seeker. He was a scholar and seeker, and he just expressed everything he learned freely. You didn't have to join anything in order to benefit from it. That's a big deal, especially from the churches I had grown up with. In fact, he said this on page 35, if you have your textbook. He said, the Science of Mind is not a special revelation of any individual, including him. It is rather the culmination of all revelations. We take the good wherever we find it, making it our own insofar as we understand it. The realization that good, capital G, good, is universal, and that as much good as any individual is able to incorporate in his life is his or hers to use, that is what constitutes the Science of Mind. Wow, that was so great. That was so amazing. Then he also said this, on page 27, if you're keeping track. He said, I'm not going to read you the whole book. I could, but I'm not going to. He said this, let us approach the Science of Mind, let's approach this philosophy with awe, not with fear, with a truly humble thought, but not with a sense that we are unworthy. I had felt so unworthy in my life. Anybody feel unworthy? Yeah. I had felt it so much, and so when I read these words, it said, you don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to play that game. That's amazing. Let us approach it normally, happily, willing to accept, glad to experiment, hoping and believing that as the result of our efforts, we shall each derive a great good, a sound understanding of the natural laws of life. There's my little book of instructions I was looking for, as they apply to the individual and their relationship to the whole universal scheme of things. This is the simple meaning of true metaphysical teaching, the study of life and the nature of the law, governed by thought, always conscious that we live in a spiritual universe, that God is in, through, around, and most importantly, for us. That was a big concept. God was for me. I had been told that because of the way I was born, that God hated me, that God hated the sin of me. But God is for me? That's huge. That is major. There's nothing supernatural about the study of life from the metaphysical viewpoint. That which today seems supernatural, after it is thoroughly understood, will be found spontaneously natural. Oh, this is natural. All right. It was the first time being in the center that I explicitly heard that God wasn't out there, that God wasn't an old man with a beard, and that the power was within you. He says right here, we see abundance in the universe. We cannot count the grains of sand on a single beach. The earth contains untold riches, and the very air we breathe is vibrant with power. Why then are we poor, weak, and afraid? The science of mind deals with these questions. Sign me up. There is no religious dogma in science of mind. You don't have to, you can say the affirmations with us, but if you just think to yourself, I'm not going to say it, you don't have to, and you're still good to go. We don't have any creeds. There's none of that stuff. It's just, in fact, we often teach, we don't tell you what to think, we tell you how to think. I learned very quickly in Science of Mind was, Alfred talked about this, Science of Mind is very diverse. And so when I was in that center in Denver, it was a very diverse crowd. That was new. And it still is to this day. You don't see that a lot of places. So that was great. That women were leaders and teachers. That was fantastic. And they were good with the gays. That was so great. You didn't have to, they weren't just tolerated, they were celebrated. I remember saying to the head minister once, something like, if I'm going to come here, then you guys have to, this is way before gay marriage, right? Way. And I said, you guys are going to have to perform a ceremony, a wedding ceremony. And he's like, okay. And I was like, no, you're going to have to do it. You have to, you have to be okay with that. And he goes, Joel, do you know how much money we make from doing gay wedding ceremonies now? He goes, we do them all the time. We're good with that. That's fine. I was like, oh, this is not a drama? This is not an issue here? All right. That everything you need to know is within you, right here and right now, and it gives you room to grow. These were radical ideas when Ernest Holmes started publishing his material. His first book came out in 1919. That's 106 years ago. Think of how radical those ideas were then. But they are so blanking radical now. It's unbelievable how radical those ideas are in this day and age.
You were only 4 years old.
Well, you were my first teacher. Yeah.
Good comeback.
And then you retired. The science of my text is huge. There's a lot to learn. I've read it all. I've read every book by Ernest Holmes over the years, every single one. And what I've done for you is I have boiled it down to 5 concepts. And we're going to talk about those right now. And that's really the way it works. These concepts, in fact, I have my little card that I've had in this book for years and years and years. And it's just the 5 concepts. Super easy to remember. And if it's not easy enough to remember, then how is it making your life better? Right? So, we're going to do it this way. And I've taught this once here before, but can everyone hold up your hand? How many fingers? Most of you have 5-ish fingers. We're going to just use 5 of them, okay? So, this is the easiest way to remember it. Number 1 finger, stands for the concept of oneness. Thank you, Edna. She got it. Edna's with me here. 1. The thing itself I remember my very first teacher in Science of Mind, the very first minister, saying what I thought was heresy back then. He said, you don't have to call it God. You don't have to say the words Lord or this or that or something. He goes, you can just call it Fred. And I was like, whoa, waiting for the lightning, you know? He goes, you can call it whatever you want. I call it Fred. Well, guess what his first name was, by the way? Fred. You can call it any, Ernest Holmes says you can call it anything you want. And he says, in fact, why call it anything? Just call it the thing, capital T, capital T. And he even wrote a number of books called The Thing Called, and he said, you might as well even call it you. The thing called you. He's talking about spirit. He's talking about God. You don't have to call it God. A lot of people have weirdness about the word God, and I understand why. So call it whatever you want. Don't call Fred, but call it anything else that you want. And he distills it all down. He also will use words for God, and these are each capitalized. The first letter is capitalized, like one mind. And that's because of something we get into in a minute. Or first cause. That God, this thing, Fred, is the first thing that there was, so it caused everything from it. So it was the first cause. Okay, I can get that. I can understand that. That makes sense to me. He said, the reading of the day was what I was going to read right here, which is that page 39, where Ernest Holmes says, and if it's only one thing, then that one thing is good. You can't have two things, evil and good. That makes no sense. It makes no sense. It doesn't make sense to have a God and something evil like a devil, because if that's true, and God is supposedly all-powerful, then why doesn't God get rid of the devil? Then they say, well, that's because you have free will. Free will between what? This God or eternal hell and damnation? That's not free will. That's coercion. You know, if I said, Neil, either give me $1 or I'm going to beat the heck out of you, he's going to give me $1. Actually, he'll probably laugh and say, you can't beat me up. But in other words, that's not free will, that's coercion. And then the other thing is that they say that God created everything. Well, then that means that God created eternal hell and damnation. That makes no sense. Ernest Holmes turns that all around and says, hey, everything was created by this benevolent power that is what you think it is. That is what you think it is. And ultimately, then, it must be benevolent. And he goes on and on about that. We could actually spend an entire year just on this one concept of oneness and barely scratch the surface of what oneness truly means in this very dualistic society and what living from oneness is. That's finger one. 2, I could do a lot of things for what 2 is. Yin and yang is a good one, cause and effect. But in Science of Mind, we say that the one is identified in 2 ways. Love and law. Love is what it is, and law is how it works. The it being a capital I again. Love and law. It is what it is. On page 26 of the textbook, he says it this way: the great love of the universe must be one with its own great law of being, and we approach love through the law. This then is the teaching, love and law. As the love of God is perfect, so the law of God is also perfect. We must understand both. That is how the one, that's last week, what it is expressed as love and as law. 3. Any fingers out there? 3. Oh, wait, one other thing about 2. One other thing. A friend of mine, Kelly Sullivan Walden, has her own 5 things. But what she said about 2 is, it's not part of the Science of Mind textbook, but it's so perfect for us, and I love it. She says that basically we're humans having a spiritual experience, so therefore we're living in an illusion of duality. It feels like we're separate. We're not, but it feels like we're separate. And she says, as you hold up two fingers, consider that any challenge you are moving through is a function of the world of duality for which you signed up for. I believe that the illusion of dual thinking is the classroom in which your soul chose to learn and earn your lessons. As you gaze upon your two fingers, notice that they make the peace sign. Can you maintain a sense of peace even as you navigate the illusion of separation? And then she goes on to say, look at your peace sign. Become aware that between the two, there actually is a webbed piece of skin between them that connects them. These two fingers aren't as far apart as they seem. They are totally connected in the center. The experience of being distant is just like that. The appearance of separation is only an illusion. Isn't that good? Yeah. Okay, 3. Thank you. 3 stands for the creative process. The creative process. This is the way it works. The creative process teaches that our thoughts are creative. How do we connect to the one that is expressed as love and law? Through our thoughts. We create our life consciously or unconsciously according to our thoughts. I was blind, but now I see. Ernest Holmes taught this very simply as this symbol. You may have seen this symbol over the years, or if you're new here, you will see this symbol. And this is, if you notice, there are 3 parts to this symbol. And he very easily expresses it as seed, soil, plant. The cause goes into, I like to say the ethers, but it goes into like the subconscious mind and results in the result, in what it is. So that is the movement. This V is not a V, it's actually an arrow showing the movement of thought in our life. So everything that is first was a thought, cause, and then it becomes the effect through our thinking. Reverend Michelle teaches it as this equals that. If you don't like the that, then change the this. Because that is a reflection of this. Very simple. And as we upgrade our thoughts, we actually upgrade our life. On page 37, he says it this way, which is, he says, our belief sets the limit to our demonstration. It is ready, the principle of itself is ready to fulfill everything because it is infinite. So it's not a question of its willingness nor its ability. It's entirely a question of our own receptivity. We can have as much as we want. We can experience it as much as we want. So that's 3. 4. Thank you. You guys are on it now. 4 can stand for 2 things. One is the first 4 chapters of the textbook, which most of the centers around the world teach every single January, which contain all of these simple ideas. But it also stands for the 4 levels of consciousness. And we teach that as well. And the 4 levels of consciousness, I can't remember the name of the person who originally came up with that, but it very quickly became popularized in our centers and is taught. And that is that when we come to the teachings, we usually are in the first level of consciousness, which is life happens to me. But then we begin using the teachings and we discover, we go to the next level, which is that life happens for me. And if we keep going with the teachings, we find out that life happens through me. And then the 4th level of consciousness is that, wait, if there's no separations, if everything is one, then life happens as me. To me, for me, through me, and as me. Those are the 4 steps. In his wonderful book, This Thing Called You, he said it this way, which is, Jesus proclaimed a law of faith that acts on your belief. As you believe, it is done to you. Now comes the more subtle and interesting part of this. which perhaps you've not analyzed. At the expense of repetition, let's look into this a little more carefully because it's of such importance. It is this little word, as, that you are to consider the meaning of. It is done to you as you believe. Not only is there a law which does something for you, that's easy enough to accept, but it is done, but in doing so, it is limited to your belief. This is the important thing to remember. It is only common sense to recognize that what this law does for you, it must of necessity do through you. The gift of life is not complete until it is accepted. If you can only believe in a little good, then the law will be compelled to operate on that little good. Not that the law itself knows anything about big or little any more than the law of gravitation would know that a mountain is heavier than a marble. It automatically holds everything in place. If you remove a large pile of gravel, it will hold this bulk in place. If you dip up but a few thimblefuls, it will hold this smaller amount in place with equal impartiality. So we get to expand. In 2025, this is a great year for us to expand our belief in how much we can accept in our lives. My friend Kelly, again, she has a different take on 4. She says 4 also represents being fortunate. And I love that because the law of blessing, being grateful for things, is certainly a part of our teaching. Finally, 5. Woo! And then I'm going to do 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and then we have our number 5 is, of course, the 5 steps of treatment. Spiritual mind treatment, our form of affirmative prayer, is the only technique that we use in our philosophy. And in fact, it seems so simple. Oh, there are 5 steps, I'll just do the 5 steps, and it is so simple, and you can begin doing it right away. But our practitioners, are there practitioners in the room? Anybody? A few? Our practitioners go through a couple years of study just to become practitioners of using these 5 steps. Why? Because when we use the steps, we recognize and realize that we are not the power comes through us. So we got to clean out as much of that gunk as possible so that we are great conduits for that power. But we never heal other people, or we never do things for other people. I don't treat for Ty, I treat. And what I do in treating, in spiritual mind treatment, in affirmative prayer, is I lift myself up to that place where anything can occur. 5th dimensional thinking is how it's referred to these days. But I lift myself up to that, my energy, my vibration up to that. And Ty can join me in that, and if he does, he can accept that for himself. We both go to this place of where spiritual mind treatment takes us. So, the 5 steps of treatment are oneness, unification, realization, thanksgiving, and release. You're going to hear more about that as we go in the next few weeks. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, everything is one, and it is expressed as both love, and how it works is law. Law is the creative process, seed, soil, plant. It allows us to move up the ladder of consciousness so that we don't see things as happening to us, we see them as happening for us, through us, and then as us. And we can do this through our very simple 5-step prayer, which is treatment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is this entire book in a nutshell. That's how simple it is. But let's spend the rest of our lives trying to work it out and figure out how deep and how high we can go with it. For now, I'm going to just go back to those closing words of the chapter and take us into our treatment. He says this: know that the thing can work for us. Remember, the thing is spirit, all there is. The thing can work for us only through us. So let us begin to accept today more good than we experienced yesterday, and to know that we shall reap a harvest of fulfilled desires. The time must come when we shall have left the apparent evil behind, when it shall be rolled up like a scroll and numbered with the things that we once thought were true. Let us now realize and work with this sound knowledge and perfect faith, that as high as we shall make our mark in mind and spirit, so high shall it be its outward manifestation in our life. Let's affirm that right here and right now. And later in the book, he says, Ernest Holmes says, that right now, today, the gifts of life, the gifts of God, the gifts of Fred, the gifts of the thing itself is ours right here, right now. And that as we believe that, it becomes so much more true for us every day. This is why we go through these 4 chapters every year, is to remind ourselves not to overcomplicate this, but rather to take these simple teachings and dig the deepest well we can. Because as we dig deep these thoughts in our life, we find that spring of water, that beautiful water that quenches our thirst. We don't need to find it in things outside of ourselves. The harmony of all beliefs, Ernest Holmes said, the harmony, the truth behind all religions, philosophies, science, art, psychology, all truths are available to us through this one belief, the science of mind belief. As we begin to learn these simple ways of looking at life, we see it everywhere. And that's the point. When we see it everywhere, we are it. So right now I know and affirm for each one of us, I lift us up to that place where we can not only understand that, but we can know it and we can receive it. I activate it for each one of us right here and now. This truth, this highness, this knowingness that is so helpful. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't have to make it harder. We can accept that it is here right now for each one of us as we believe. So shall it be. And we are fortunate and give ourselves a great heart of thanksgiving for this truth, this teaching, and this community. Thank you so much, Spirit, for this knowingness. I release this into that loving law, which is Spirit, into the ethers of knowledge and the subconscious, so that as these words go out, they go in and they ring true for us wherever we are, right here and right now. And together we say, and so it is.
Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am.
Thank you, thank you. As we enter our time to give, we have the baskets going around for support to LA. I wanted to remind you of that. But first, let's enter that space with our affirmation to see how our financial gifts can impact us individually, our community, and our world. So please join me in reading our affirmation. I bless this gift that I give today. I give this gift from my heart, and I give it mindfully. May my gift go further to heal, prosper, and bless this center and all who enter. I accept all good that comes as a result of this flow, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly, and so it is. And know that your gift does matter. As we're collecting today for the LA wildfires, thank you, I already saw the baskets go around. If you missed it coming around, we have it in the back. There's QR codes to give online for our online community. I know Neil has shared that. But know that this does make a difference. Earlier in 2025, it's only 12 days old. In 2024, our center gave to Asheville after the horrific floods from Hurricane Helene. And we have a note from CSL Asheville of thanks. Many thanks to Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey from all of us at Center for Spiritual Living Asheville for your generous financial gift after Hurricane Helene. Thanks to communities like yours, we continue to recover and even come back stronger. And we are looking forward to a safe and prosperous new year. Thank you all again for your prayers and financial support. Blessings to all of you in this new year. We thrive in 2025. From Reverend Susie Shadle in Asheville. So know that as we give to LA through Center for Spiritual Living, that it will make a difference. And we always question, will this drop in the bucket make a difference? Yes, it will. So thank you for those of you who gave, thank you for those who will. Quick announcements from our center. I'll go in chronological order. Again, Joel mentioned his event on Friday the 17th, so if you'd like to participate in that, fantastic. Next Sunday, we will continue our first 4 chapters with practical spirituality. Our speaker will be Tony Hamilton on her topic, What It Does. All right, soon after that, on Monday, January 20th, we have our Holmes Spiritual Mastery course starting. Again, that's 8 days away with Dr. Reverend Michelle, going back to principal. So sign up on Zoom. It's Monday nights from 7 to 9, 8 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. So that's a great opportunity to come back to principals here starting in January through March. All right, so that's next Sunday with Tony, next Monday with next Monday with Reverend Michelle, and the following Saturday, January 26th, 2 weeks from today, will be our annual meeting. So please book that extra time here at Benai Kashet so that we can come together as a community for that annual meeting. Between then and now, if you would like to serve more, if you'd like to serve in this leadership council alongside myself, Neil, Joe, Edna, and Ty, all 5 of us are here today, and Jessa as well as our member financial down in Florida. She'll be here on the 26th to give that information. We would love to have more than the 6 of us. Please feel free to speak to any of us. And you don't have to be on the leadership council in order to serve or lead. We say it every week. There are many people that go into making this work, and we appreciate all of those efforts. So if it's not leadership council and you'd like to step up in a different way, we would welcome that. Thank you. So back to today. I think that's it for me. Yes, Neil? Anything to add? Let's have a song. Let's have a song. Yeah.
Let's have a song. And this is one of those songs that we've, been doing for many years. It's a pop song, and it's just one of my favorite songs to sing. And we're going to take this time again to dedicate this song to the people out in California who are going through quite a time right now. And they are our people. We want to shower our people with love.
At the Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, we believe in empowering individuals to discover their inner strength and their connection to divine life. Through our supportive community, transformative workshops, and uplifting services, we provide a safe space for personal growth and spiritual exploration. Whether you're seeking clarity, healing, or a deeper understanding of life's mysteries, our center offers practical tools and timeless wisdom to help you thrive. Join us in creating a more diverse, compassionate, and kind world. Your world, the way you want to create it.